Everybody, welcome to the Claw and the King podcast. I am joined by my co-host, Oscar. It's been a while since we've seen each other. It's been the Christmas break, the New Year's break. We went on a little trip together that we thoroughly enjoyed. Loved every second of it, I'm sure. But yeah, we went on a little trip, just getting back into the swing of things. So sorry for the delay in the podcast. I know like millions of people are chomping at the bit just to get a taste.
Everyone was just on the edge of their seats, just pressing refresh on our page.
Yeah. It's
when
crazy.
is the upload?
Yeah, when is it? And it's right now.
Right now.
Get keen. Did you want to kick us off with a particular sport that you're sort of keying in on over the next couple of weeks?
I think we can talk about a bit of a different sport for us. We can start with NFL, I think.
Wow.
It's on the front of everyone's minds at the moment. The playoffs start tomorrow, I believe.
Yes, they do.
The business end of the season.
That is right.
Do you want to go do a little bit of a preview, how you see some of the matchups going?
Yeah, for sure. So
with more knowledge.
The early kickoff tomorrow is at 8:30, I believe, is the Chargers-Texans game. Now, I'm a Chargers fan, so this is quite a good time for me, a Sunday. You know, it's not like
What time? 6?
No, 8.
Oh, 8.
8:30. So it's not a bad time at all for me. So yeah, it's at 8:30 tomorrow. Chargers-Texans, a really interesting matchup. Both teams aren't probably contenders in anyone's eyes. The Chargers are probably on a bit of a better run of form. The Texans have been kind of limping into the playoffs for the past couple of months. They had a really bad loss against the Ravens a couple of weeks ago on Christmas. They lost like 33-2. It wasn't great. But yeah, essentially, as a Chargers fan, this is a good matchup for us in terms of who's left in the AFC, which is that conference. It's an easier matchup for us. However, there is problems with that team. They are a very dangerous team, and especially if they get hot, they can be very dangerous as well. So they've got guys like Joe Mixon, who came over from the Bengals this offseason. Started off really, really strong, has had injury issues throughout the year, and kind of plateaued the last couple of weeks. But he is still an elite guy and has got major playoff experience, so that's something to keep an eye out for. Stroud, have you heard of CJ Stroud?
Yeah.
So he was a rookie quarterback last year, made major waves, won a playoff game last year against the Browns, but this year he's kind of taken a step back. And there's a lot of reasons for that. The offensive line is horrendous. He's had major injuries to his receiving core. They brought in Stephon Diggs, who went out midway through the season, and then Tank Dell got a crucial injury late on in the season as well. So it's basically Nico Collins is his only weapon at this stage. So look, it's not been the most ideal situation in terms of a year two for him, but I think it's partly his fault as well. A lot of people are giving him a lot of slack because of how good he was last year, but he just hasn't taken that.
What's Sketch think of this game? Is he going to be?
Well, he's a big Texans guy, so I'm assuming he'll be all over it. It's at the Texans, so
wasn't it? I thought it got moved from.
No, that's the Rams-Vikings game. So because the Texans won their division, they get a home playoff game. It's a fucking stupid rule, but that's how the NFL works. So I'm going to take the Chargers always because I'm a Chargers fan. Who are you going to take? What kind of vibes are you going with?
The guy I know the most is CJ Stroud, so I'm going to go with the Texans.
You're going to go with the Texans?
I'm going to go with the Texans.
That's interesting.
But I feel like the Chargers are a bit of a trash playoff team.
Yeah, look, I think we are lacking a lot of major pieces. I think it's kind of a miracle. It's kind of a coaching, sort of the reason why we got to the playoffs is down to our quarterback and coach. In a lot of people's eyes, our offensive weapons aren't really there. We've got a good rookie in Lad McConkey. I mean, what a name. Lad McConkey. And he's played superb this season. But it just depends on if sort of the other guys can step up. And they're fringe players. Everyone knows that they're not the best quality. But we do have superstar players, especially on defense. You got Derwin James, you got Khalil Mack, you got Joey Bosa. So you've got some real difference makers on defense. It's just if the other guys can step up and really shut down CJ Stroud and that Texans offense. But yeah, you're going Texans. Interesting. The game afterwards is the Steelers-Ravens, which is a bit of rivalry. They are, tough rivals in the same division. What's your thinking on this game?
My thinking is the Ravens are going to win. Lamar Jackson's the best player in the league. And they've got some other good players.
Wow.
They started the season pretty badly. Did they not?
Yes, they
like
did.
0-4 or something?
0-3,
And,
yeah.
and now they're... What did they finish? 13-4?
12-5.
12-5.
No,
so
look,
they're going to win.
The thing with this matchup is, even though Lamar's elite, he hasn't had the best playoff success in his career. And another thing to look out for is, historically, he's not great against the Steelers. Now, he had 2 games against them this year. One, he looked bang average and they lost. The other one, he looked fantastic and they dominated. So, you don't know which one's going to turn up. Now, in saying sort of Lamar struggles, the Steelers have had struggles throughout the past several years in terms of playoff success. They're a team that always gets to the playoffs but never does anything in them. So I think they haven't won a playoff game since 2016 or something like that.
Who's their quarterback now?
So their quarterback is Russell Wilson. You might have heard of him. Russell Wilson,
heard of him
back in the day. He started off well, hasn't looked great recently. So their offense completely stinky. I think. Look, a lot of people are probably going to say, "Oh, yeah, look, the Ravens might falter in this game," but I think the Steelers have looked horrendous. You just got to look at it point blank and say, "Look, the Steelers have looked horrendous. The Ravens have looked great." You just got to judge it based on that, and I think the Ravens will win this one pretty comfortably. In the end, the next wildcard game is... No, you went Ravens in that game, didn't you?
Yeah.
So the next one is Broncos-Bills.
Broncos-Bills. Well, I think Bills will win pretty easily.
Why is that?
Because they got Josh Allen.
That's
and
great. Elite ball knowledge.
They're the 2 seed.
Elite. That's correct. Yeah, Broncos got in on the last day of the season into the playoffs. A similar situation to the Chargers in the fact that they're clearly early in a rebuilding project, but they've made the playoffs, and making the playoffs is probably more of an achievement than the Chargers. So, yeah, I don't think anyone's expected them to do anything in this game. I think the Bills will probably dominate. But look, the Broncos have an elite defense, so it might be sort of a close game early on, potentially. But I think Josh Allen is just too dominant for Bo Nix to match in this game. But you never know. I'm going Bills as well. Packers-Eagles. I think this is the first sort of... the Chargers-Texans is a close one, but no one really cares outside of me about that game. The Packers-Eagles is a really contentious game. Eagles are a team that have been kind of bad vibes whilst being really good. It's the morale isn't the best in that team. Just I think coaching and player differences is pretty obvious from the outside looking in. But they're an elite team. They got Saquon. They got
Mailata.
They have Mailata, who is the best offensive lineman in the NFL, the best graded offensive lineman in the NFL. So there you go. But no, their offensive line is elite. Their D-line's elite. They've got so many good players, the Eagles. And look, in terms of a roster, I think there is probably not a team better. They've got everything. They've got absolutely everything.
And their QB has been in concussion protocols.
He has.
Yes.
So Jalen Hurts has been in. He'll play. I think he's missed 2 games. There's no chance he doesn't play. And then on the flip side, the Packers have looked dominant in spurts. They have looked unreal at times. They've completely mauled and dominated teams. Josh Jacobs is a big part of that. The running back that they got over from the Raiders at the beginning of the season. Jordan Love, I think there's a bit of a wild card. I think most people are picking the Eagles because they look at the teams and are like, the Eagles look better and they got better players. But I think what the Packers did last year, they're a real wild card. I think they're a real chance of pulling off an upset in this one. And I'm going to go Packers. I think.
Really?
I honestly think that they have... Look, the Eagles are in a division that isn't the best. Especially this year. They played the Cowboys, who weren't great. They played the Giants, who were horrendous. And the Commanders, the Commanders stepped up this season, but they're still defensively weak in parts. So I look at the Packers and I'm like, fuck, they had to play in the toughest division in football, and they got their way to 11-6. And look, they played their backups last game, they should have been like if it was if they played their starters, it would be 12-5. So to be 12-5 in that division, you've got to be doing something right. So I'm gonna go Packers in this one.
I'm gonna go Eagles.
Wow,
I think the Eagles do
just
it.
Take the favourite in every game, mate.
Yeah,
just go ahead.
Honestly, I think the Eagles might win it all.
You think the Eagles might win? Look, that's not a rogue statement at all, but there is a real rift between coaches and players in that locker room. So,
hey, but the Bulls had it.
No, but
the Lakers had
that's
it.
the thing. The problem is that they haven't won, and they've had these group of players for
didn't
a number
they
of
win
years.
a few years ago?
No, they got to the Super Bowl. But they did win like in a different regime with different players. But that was Tom Brady. That was Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
They beat Tom Brady with the Patriots. That was like 2018, 2019. That was like a different team. Like they went to the Super Bowl more recently than that, and they lost. So there's a real rift there between coaches and players. The next game is Commanders Bucks, a real like fun game.
Milwaukee Bucks.
No, Buccaneers.
Oh, the Buccaneers.
Look, he only gets it if it's a full team name. It's got to be the entire team name.
Tom Brady versus the Commanders.
Yeah.
Is
Washington.
The Redskins.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Tom Brady versus Redskins. That is how you view it. A real fun one. It's a real tough one to pick, actually, because they're quite similar.
Baker Mayfield wins.
You're going to go Baker? I'm actually going to go with Baker as well. I think Baker Mayfield wins this one.
Washington Commanders has to be the worst name and logo I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's horrendous. That's because they had to change it, and they're like, what do we change it to? And they had the Washington football team, which was kind of vibes.
Right.
Just like you're the football team.
But why did they change it?
Because
I know why they changed it, but...
Yeah, it's just how it is. So, I think it's a fun matchup. Neither team's going to win the Super Bowl. I think the Buccaneers will beat the Commanders here. And that's on Monday at 12. Then you've got Vikings-Rams. Now, this is the one that's been moved from LA to Arizona.
Right.
It's a kind of an annoying one if you're a Rams fan or player. I mean, you've got a home field advantage against a really tough team in the Vikings. It's not going to be easy. And you've just lost the home field. I mean, still close to LA, but you still lost a good portion of that home field advantage because you're not in LA anymore. It's a tough one for them, but how do you see this one playing out, Oski?
The Rams and the Vikings. I think the Vikings are probably better, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Who do they have? Kirk Cousins?
No. So Kirk Cousins is on the Falcons now.
Okay.
The Vikings have Sam Darnold, and he's been a great player for them this season. I think he's fit into that system. And if he was with the Jets, would he be as good? No, and he was on the Jets and he wasn't as good. So he's in a great system with great players. I think the Vikings pull this one out. I think the Rams are a good team, but they do lack some major pieces on that O-line has been beat up this year. It's just tough to see them really sustaining against an elite defense.
Do they still have anyone from because they won the Super Bowl, right? A few years ago.
Yeah.
Do they still have like Aaron Donald?
No, Aaron Donald retired. They've got Matt Stafford who's still there. They've got Cooper Kupp, but they're all older now. They're not in their primes anymore. They got Puka Nacua. They got some really Kyron Williams. They got some really good young players, but it's just more of a situation where the Vikings have everything and they have an elite offense. They have an elite defense. It's just kind of a situation where the Vikings could contend for a Super Bowl and the Rams are probably just a wild card divisional team at max, and they just happen to go into a really tough matchup first game of the postseason. So. Yeah, I'm going Vikings in this one. Do you have a pick?
Yeah, Vikings. I think favourites win everything.
Look, it can happen.
The odds makers don't get it wrong.
Vegas never gets it wrong.
They don't get it wrong.
That's the NFL. Obviously, with the Lions and the Chiefs, they got first round buys. They don't play this week, so they'll be playing next week. It's a bit of a weird system, like how they do it. It's like So if you get the first round bye, you play like the worst record that made it through. So you don't actually know who the seedings are. Like,
I thought they played like the winner of the 4-5 match.
no.
Oh.
So they play the winner. They play the lowest seed. So like technically, that like.
But the seeds make no sense because like the lower seeds will have better records than higher seeds.
Yeah, so that's what I mean with the divisional thing.
That makes no sense.
If you win your division, you get an automatic home playoff game.
Yeah.
But like for instance, the Vikings, they finished 14-3, but they're going on the road technically to the Rams, who finished 10-7.
Yeah.
But the Rams won their division and the Vikings lost to the Vikings lost to the Lions, in their division. So it's just how you win your division.
How was Minnesota and Detroit in the same?
So Minnesota,
division?
Detroit, and Green Bay are all in the same division. So that's what I was saying with the Green Bay Packers. They have the toughest division.
But they're in different locations.
But it's not based on geographical necessarily. Like for instance, the Chargers are in one with the Raiders, who is close to them, but with the Kansas City Chiefs as well.
Right.
So it's like it's not really.
So why? How do they come up with it?
And Denver as well. I don't know how it came about, but like the 49ers are not in the same division. Or like perfect example, LA Rams, LA Chargers in different divisions and different conferences.
That makes no sense.
It's just how it is. So yeah, essentially that's how it goes. The Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets are in the same division, even though Miami's here and New York's up there. It's just how it is.
That's how it is. I saw Tyreek Hill basically say he wants to leave.
Yeah, I think it was heat of the moment. Like, he probably does want to leave, but his agent has come out and said that it was heat of the moment and he has no intention of breaking his contract or getting traded. Like, and they had a meeting about it apparently and just sort of smooth things over. I would love him on the Chargers personally, but yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere.
Right.
He's on a lot of money. I think he's just frustrated that the Chiefs are like going for a three-peat and he's stuck on a shitty Dolphins team. But yeah, that's the NFL. Hopefully the Chargers get through next week and we can see how it goes from there.
All right. Sounds good.
Moving on,
we can go to NBA, the other American sport. America. A few stories in the NBA at the moment. I guess we can start with the Jimmy story on the tip of everybody's tongues at the moment. Obviously, he's requested a trade, essentially. I don't know if he's actually, but like he's said in a media conference that he wants to leave pretty much. And now there is sort of a stalemate between him and Pat Riley. He's been suspended for 7 games for that statement, and now they're waiting for a trade, which from what I've heard, no one has offered anything good. So that's why he hasn't moved. I'd love to see him on the Lakers, obviously. Anywhere but...
What are they expecting that they're going to get for him?
Well, I think they would like a pick and a good player.
At this stage of his career, that's just not happening.
See, well, I think Phoenix would do it.
I'm not saying there's not desperate teams out there that wouldn't want Jimmy Butler, but I'm saying the teams that would do it have, like, they've already given up the assets because they're so desperate. Like a Philly or a Phoenix, they've already given up major assets to get all these old players together. They don't have anything young or promising. They're not going to, they just don't have anything to give. So it's just a situation where, what do they expect? Are they expecting a Paul George trade from Thunder to Clippers? What are they expecting?
No, they wouldn't be expecting that, but obviously they're expecting more than nothing. Because I think Phoenix did offer just Bradley Beal for Jimmy Butler 1-for-1, and they rejected that. Now,
why would you reject that? Yeah.
Well, Bradley Beal sucks. That's probably why.
Yeah, but he's a lot younger.
He's like 32.
Yeah, but Jimmy's 37.
He's 35.
Is he?
Yeah.
That's fair then.
Yeah, like, it's tough, but hopefully, I want to see him on a contender. I would hate to see him on Memphis, because I hate Memphis. So, it depends. I'd like to see him stay in the East, to be honest, or unless he's going to be on the Lakers, because...
But what would the Lakers give up for him? You just said Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves are untouchable.
Well, okay, fine. Vanderbilt, Vincent...
Is that what they want? I'm pretty sure they could get Vanderbilt and Vincent equivalents from other teams.
Yeah. Well, we got 2 first rounders. We'll give you 2 first rounders.
I just don't think anyone would do that. I just don't think anyone's willing to do that.
I don't know why Rui's untouchable. Rui is touchable, okay?
Yeah. We can touch him if we want.
Rui is touchable, okay? Max Christie, very touchable.
Yes. I think Gabe Vincent is touchable as well. I think...
Back to Miami. They would love that.
Sure.
They didn't want to lose him in the first place.
I think Bronny James is touchable.
No, he's not touchable.
He's not touchable.
Apparently, I saw that he... I think he's generated $500 million in jersey sales or something.
No, there's no chance. that is fucking horse shit, isn't it? That's
really? I think
number.
I
Where'd you hear
it.
that from?
I don't know. I saw it somewhere.
There is 0 chance that happened. He has the same last name as his dad. Why is that?
Because it has the junior on the end.
Oh, it has the junior on the end.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. People wouldn't just buy LeBron jerseys; they'd buy Bronny James Jr.
Yeah, they want Bronny James Jr.
Okay. Yeah, it's tough. I don't think I see a path for him anywhere, and that's where.
Do you think he stays on the Heat?
Probably. I think they would probably end up being disgruntled at each other for the rest of the season. What team could pull up something valuable for the Heat? Because if the Heat were looking to offload him, they would have done so by now.
But they're
looking for something valuable, and what is valuable? I mean, what is valuable that's out there that's willing to be... the problem is there's such a class difference there's such a gap. There's no teams that are like pushing for contention that want to get another superstar or another game changer to make themselves a true contender. You're either tanking or you're already a contender. And if you're in the middle ground, you're just sitting and praying. You're not giving up future picks or current young players that you have.
But they'll have to make a move because he'll just opt out at the end of this year and be a free agent. So
maybe they just say, "Fuck it, why don't we just go for it? Go for a chip this season. Why don't we just try our best and
yeah, but he's not going to agree to that, is he?
Well, he's under contract. Like he's still playing. Like there's no chance that they're not going to at least try and figure it out if he does end up staying. In terms of trying to figure out, okay, let's just let bygones be bygones and finish out the rest of the year.
I don't think
you can request a trade, but that doesn't mean that you're getting traded.
But I don't think that's how Pat Riley works, where he's going to be apologising and saying.
I don't think he's going to be apologising, but he'll say, mate, all right, you're here for the rest of the season, just play hard, and then you get to be a free agent at the end of the year. Do you want to try and win this year or not? I think that will be the conversation that they have. You could look at it maybe a Clippers potentially, but I don't know if the fit's right. It's a move that the Clippers would have made in the past. And you've got some semblance of young players that you could give them. You've got a Terrence Mann, that might be of interest to them. You've got something there. Maybe a Derek Jones Jr. reunion.
But you've got to give a max player for the contracts. You got to give either Harden or
Terrence Mann's on decent amount, but he's not on max. Yeah.
Yeah. What's Norman Powell on?
He's on a decent amount. They'd have to package a lot of players, which is a problem because they're not going to give up Kawhi, and I don't think Kawhi is even in any deal ever. So yeah, I just don't think there's a reasonable team out there that could make a move for him.
Right. So your prediction will be that he stays on the Heat.
Yes.
Wow.
Bold one, maybe.
That is bold. I think everyone's just resigned to the fact that he's going to be dealt somewhere. It's just...
Where do you think he's going to go?
Honestly, I think it could be the Lakers. We just come out of nowhere, no one's thinking about it, and then you just wake up one morning and it's holy shit, the Lakers have Jimmy Butler.
I just don't think that's possible.
I do.
They don't have anything. You don't have any assets.
Yeah, we do.
That you're willing. You just said you're not trading Rui Hachimura or Austin Reeves. Those are the only two players.
They're just playing hardball.
They're playing hardball. Okay, so Rui is...
Why would Rui be untouchable? He's fucking average.
Well, apparently JJ Redick likes him, so...
I'm sure he likes Jimmy more.
Yeah. Well, look, the Lakers are could make a deal for him, but apparently they love their younger players on the team, so they're not giving them up.
Well, they're not. Dalton Connect. Can we get rid of him, please? I don't think he's made a 3 in months.
I thought you said he was Rookie of the Year.
Oh, well, that was an early call, obviously.
Yeah. Anthony Davis MVP, not ringing true. And DPOY.
Yeah. Look, Anthony's, again, fucking shown his true colours of being an inconsistent basketball player.
Oh, no.
He gives you flashes every year, especially at the start of the year. He's got to be the best first 5 game of the season player ever.
Is that the excuse that you're putting across for picking him for an MVP and DPOY?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, fair play. So in terms of the Lakers, JJ Redick's house burnt down. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's going to be hard to overcome sort of an obstacle like that.
But I thought it was his rental house. So.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I don't think it's his actual.
Well, he still needs somewhere to sleep.
I think he's got plenty of money. So I think he'll find...
there's not plenty of real estate. It's all gone.
I don't think it's all gone. I think it's obviously, if you didn't know, if you're living under a rock, devastating fires in LA over the past week. Still going. In terms of fire containment, they have crap.
What are the fucking firefighters doing?
No, it's honestly, they have zero funding. Like they got cut all their funding. So essentially they've got like hardly anyone. Right. And they're getting prisoners to fight the fires out of jail. They're literally getting people in prisons and getting them out fighting the fires. They have zero water. They got rid of all the water.
They got rid of the water.
They did zero, like, what's it called when, like, you pre-burn, like...
Back burning.
They did zero back burning. And they're just like, what? How did this happen, bro?
Such an American
0% of the fires are contained. 0%. There is nothing... I think there's like 4 or 5 of them. They're all going. Like, there's no one stopping them. This is not happen. There is no stoppage. They just keep on rolling. Like, they need like...
Crazy. Surely some other like states help out.
They don't... Like, how though?
Just, I don't know, fly them over. Drive the fire trucks over.
Drive the fire... No, but that's how big California is. It's not just LA. It's the whole state of California that got this.
Mm.
So, that's from like San Francisco to friggin' San Diego. They have nothing. So, essentially, they're just screwed.
Right.
So, yeah, good job.
So, how do you go to sleep? Like, if you're LeBron right now, surely you don't stay at home. Because
I don't know. It depends where you live.
Yeah, what if it spreads to where you live overnight?
It could do. I don't think it's... Like, I think other areas of LA are okay. I think it's just, like, that region is just fucked. But, yeah, I don't think it impacts them right now. I think most of LA is okay. I think because where they are, downtown LA, is not bad. But LeBron might live... You just don't know where they live. So, it's just... a lot of expensive houses.
Well, LeBron probably has, like, all the fire department staked out at his house.
Yeah, that's probably it. He's got the whole fire department outside his house. No, it's dangerous. I mean, it's fucking... I mean, we had the fires a couple of years ago, didn't we? And that was mainly... I mean, look, a lot of wildlife burnt down, which was devastating, but it wasn't really residential. But this is, like, devastating because it is residential. Like, people are losing a shit ton of homes. And it's not like they're losing fucking, old mate's losing his cabin out in the woods. He's losing, multi-million-dollar houses. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how it all plays out. But yeah, JJ Redick, house burned down. So hopefully he's okay, and hopefully he can find a home somewhere with that multi-million-dollar salary that he's getting.
Yeah, I mean, like team meetings, where will they be held now?
Yeah.
Where will the bonding sessions be held? These are important questions that need to be answered.
Yeah.
So,
and we need JJ Redick to answer them right now.
Yeah.
Essentially, this is
priority
one.
And back to the actual performance of the Lakers recently. We're the same old team. I don't know what.
Yeah,
what
you're not
else
putting
to
out
say.
any fires in the actual.
We look half decent one game. We look 3/4 shit the next. So I mean,
I think like that's the Lakers. I think the Lakers and Clippers are the same team this year. That's not even a joke. Yeah. We are the same team.
Well, I mean, losing to Dallas without Kyrie and Luka is diabolical.
Yeah, that was crazy. But we lost to someone yesterday. Who did we? No, it wasn't yesterday. It might have been the day before. Yeah, we lost to the Nuggets by 23 without Jokic.
Did Kawhi play?
Oh, no, I don't. It was the one where like his family's impacted by the fire, so he didn't play. But still, DeAndre Jordan played 23 minutes. Scored 12 points, 9 rebounds.
Revenge game.
DeAndre Jordan.
Westbrook revenge game as well.
I haven't, like, that. Those words seem weird coming out of my mouth because I haven't said them in 7 years. It's almost like I'm saying the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's crazy how he's still in the league, to be fair.
He's 36 years old. The guy relies purely on athleticism to play basketball, and he's still giving us 23 minutes. Westbrook. I mean, Brown. Brown, stupid fucking name. Strawther dropped 16 on us. I mean, what are we doing?
It's crazy.
What? Dario Saric. These guys.
Saric,
I feel like I'm playing 2K16. This is crazy. And then, but like the game before, we'll be fucking unstoppable. You know, it's just then we play the Hawks away. We play the Hawks away with their whole team, and we beat them by 30. We just never know what to do. And that's the Clippers.
Yeah, I mean that's just the LA teams, I guess. But I think Kawhi's played 2 games. Do you think, from what you've seen, he's going to be impactful?
It's impossible to tell. It's impossible to tell right now. I think he's clearly just coming back. I salute him for coming back this early. I know I predicted on previous shows that he'd be out until the All-Star break at least. And he's come back sooner. He came back sooner than I expected. He's clearly got a degenerative knee, and he's somehow playing. And I think it's just stubbornness at this point that he's playing, and he's just like, I'm not going to retire. I'm just going to keep on playing. When clearly his knee is fucked. I have zero expectation for him doing anything, but it's too early to tell. He hasn't looked fantastic. His shooting numbers haven't been great since he came back, but, I mean, it's 2 games in.
He did I saw he did like a promo video with New Balance, I think, for his return.
Did he?
And everyone's memeing, he's out of retirement again. He's coming back again, and he does it every year though.
Yeah,
shout out to him.
You feel bad for it. Like he clearly just got no left knee. I can't remember if it's left or right, but he's clearly got one knee, and he's still going out there. So props to him.
He is.
Props to him.
In the other news in the NBA, All-Star voting has had a couple of returns now.
Yes.
Any surprising?
How Kevin Durant is that popular is what my main takeaway.
But he's always been that popular.
I know, but I never get it. He's not that popular I don't think he's that popular. I think it's just like China. I honestly think it's like China.
I don't know. He has a lot of fans.
In China. I think it's honestly international, and we're international to be fair, but like Kevin Durant has been like probably a bench all-star player for the past, 1 or 2 years. I mean, he's been good in Phoenix, but he hasn't been fantastic. And the Phoenix Suns have been horrendous. So, I mean, what are we doing here? He's more popular. I get it, you win on a popularity contest if you're LeBron, but you're not LeBron. You're Kevin Durant.
Well, he has more votes than LeBron.
That's the thing. I don't get that. If both of them are clearly getting voted for popularity, but somehow Kevin Durant's getting more votes. How is that happening?
I don't know. Well, he's playing well still. He's still averaging. What is he averaging? 25, something like that.
But it's
but he I get it. I've never been that much of a fan of him, but he's always been popular in the voting. I mean, in the East, LaMelo I think is 400,000 or 500,000 ahead of second place,
which is good.
It's good, but you could argue he probably doesn't deserve to be there. But
I think it's a mix, though. I think that's more of a mix. I think and when you're a new story as well, like Kevin Durant, the amount of years he's been fucking playing, like LaMelo, he's popular, but people want him to get in there because he's a good player as well, and he's like a new and a younger player. So, I think the All-Star voting is what it is early on. You get weird ones, and then the media has some higher proportionate of voting, so they essentially get to pick who's in the All-Star game. So we'll see.
It's shout out to Cade Cunningham. I think he's going to make it.
You think Cade Cunningham's going to make it?
Yep.
Wow.
And I predicted this in the first show of the year we did.
Did you?
I said, I said Cade for most improved, and he'll make the All-Star team.
Wow. Again, he's going
to win it.
You said Anthony Davis would win.
Yeah, but look, it's not about the ones you miss.
And you said Dalton Connect would win Rookie of the Year.
No, was that my actual pick?
I'm
pretty sure we both said Reed Shepherd.
No, I said Reed Shepherd. You said...
I'm pretty sure I said that as well.
No, you said...
Well, Dalton's a better pick than Reed Shepherd.
Yeah, well, is what it is. He looked good in the G League. I think he scored 46 in the G League. Yeah.
Wow.
I might have got Centel, NBA Centel on Twitter.
Yes.
Central instead of Centel instead of Central. Yeah, I might have got Centel there. I don't know. That might be fake, but I think he scored 46.
Right.
Another key matchup, a game that I watched recently, probably the biggest game in the regular season the NBA's had for a good couple of years. Like, it's a game that you're clued into. I've never found that in the regular season over the past couple of years, but the Cavs and the Thunder, big game, two of the best teams in the NBA, two teams that are on track for historic seasons for their franchise. What did you make of the game?
It was a great game. I was watching it at work.
Oh,
so, well, you obviously were as well. But yeah, it was a very entertaining game, close game all the way through. I think there was something like 30 lead changes throughout, which is what you want to see. It lived up to the hype. Mitchell had a very quiet game. Cleveland still managed to win.
Brick City.
Yeah. Obviously, everyone's saying Chet will be the difference when he is fit.
But the Thunder have looked good without Chet. They got on this winning streak without him. But I don't think that's an excuse.
But I think specifically for the matchup against Cleveland, like Mobley and Allen dominated the boards against just Hartenstein. So everyone's saying once Chet's back, it'll be more of a matchup.
I don't think Chet's going to fucking run the rebounds, is he, though?
Well, he's tall.
He's tall, but he's skinny. Mobley's skinny, but I don't think he's going to mitigate Jared Allen, right?
Yeah, probably not. But, he's probably their second or third best player and he's not playing. So he'll make a difference for sure. But, yeah, great game. Shea, I don't know if this is an L take, but Shea just is he has a whack game to me. And it looks like he does an offensive foul every time he makes a move. And
it's a weird one. Obviously, people are picking him for the MVP. But it's quite similar to the Harden days, where it's like he doesn't look good when playing. He just
he makes really tough shots, but I don't know.
But it's like I don't enjoy watching him. It's very bait into fouls. He's always playing through contact, which is fair play to him. He makes, like you say, he makes tough shots. But it's never like a smooth game. It's very slow and methodical, like Harden was. And he kind of, just sort of prods his way through and tries to create contact and sort of works his game around that. So, look, I'm not salty at all that he was a Clipper once and then he got traded and now he's an MVP candidate. But, people are like, well, why doesn't Shea get the sort of publicity and the notoriety that he deserves? And part of it is that he's playing for the Thunder, but I think a key part of it that people don't like to recognize is that his game is quite ugly.
And also for me personally, everyone says, "Oh, he's got so much aura. He's so cool and whatever." Every time I see him talk, I'm like, "You're just fucking weird, bro." I don't know if that's even what he wears. I'm like, "This is not drip."
Same thing with Harden. Same thing. But Harden, Harden, when he went to the games, looked like an idiot. Like the way that he would dress prior to a game was crazy.
But no one was. I don't feel like people were saying Harden had aura. I mean, aura probably wasn't in the vocab back then, but. Yeah, I don't know. And so, like their interviews they do where the whole team's standing there.
Yeah, I don't like
it's
that.
It's like, oh, come on, man.
It's just not fun. And we were talking about it before the podcast. Like Paul George, people are calling Paul George like the GOAT. But in terms of stats, he's nowhere near Shea or at any in terms of his production or his team's carrying his teams to wins or whatever, or his team record or whatever. But Paul George's game looks sexy. Shea's doesn't. And I think that's a key reason as to why he's not sort of the big star. And look, he's still a big name, and people obviously know who he is because of his stats, but similar to the James Harden thing, he's just not sort of got that, like you said, aura. He doesn't have that sort of, when he plays, he doesn't have that kind of, you're glued to the TV watching him, kind of.
No.
Anthony Edwards, completely different story for me. He's you can't get your eyes off him. Against the Clippers the other day, he hit 2 massive threes. And I think he's just his personality goes and comes through the way that he plays. But Shai's a bit more sort of, I don't know. I don't want to call him boring, but it's just like he plays a bit boring. So,
he is. I think he is a bit boring.
And yeah, his personality isn't like, he's got a double-barreled name that's a bit awkward as well. It's just how it is.
So yeah, we're officially Shai haters.
Yeah, so, and it's got nothing to do with the fact that the Clippers traded him. Yeah, nothing at all. Clippers won that trade, by the way.
Clippers won the trade.
Won the trade because people forget it's for Kawhi and Paul George.
People forget, man.
People forget. Anyway, moving on.
Is there anything else in basketball? I think that's it. That's it. All right, we can shift to cricket. I feel like last time we filmed, it was probably after the first or second test or something.
Yeah, it would have been.
The series is now wrapped up, obviously. Australia with a incredible series victory, 3-1 in the end. Although, the games were pretty tight, especially the fourth test. Went down to the last hour. But I guess we can do a quick review of how this summer of cricket went. For me, I thought it was amazing.
You thought it was amazing? Wow.
Great viewing the whole time.
No, it was a fantastic test series, I think, especially if you're an Australian fan. It was a bit of new blood that got injected into the team. Now, was he a bit of a fraud? Yes. But in saying that, we'll talk about Sam Constas, he did inject some new life into the team. And you did feel that. I think you did feel sort of a new energy in the Australian cricket team, where in previous summers and in previous years, it's been kind of stale, where it's the same players every year, and they just, get good results because they're great players. But, Australia won this test series 3-1. I think it was more that India shot themselves in the foot. And I know that speaking as an England fan, but I think India really did shoot themselves in the foot multiple times during the series. I mean, Rishabh Pant is an idiot. I have no idea what he thinks.
But he was still like their best player.
Yeah, was he?
In the last game, definitely.
Yeah, but he's just... He does so many stupid things. And then, like the whole team does. Sharma's captaincy was a joke as well. I think Australia got fortunate with Bumrah's injury in the Sydney Test as well. I think if he's fully healthy, they probably get another 20 runs when they bat, and then when they bowl, I think it's a different level. And even closing out the first innings as well, he obviously wasn't there for that. So imagine if he had the tail there with, and look, India didn't do a bad job in terms of cleaning up the tail without him, but I think if Bumrah was there, it would have been a different story. They probably would have had like a 30, 40 run lead, I'd imagine, if he was healthy. And then you'd have sort of, I don't know, maybe a bit more, 20 more runs. I don't know. I'm ballparking it here, but they'd have to probably chase 220, 230 Australia if Bumrah was healthy, I'd imagine. And it just turned out that they didn't have to chase that. So when without him in the bowling attack for that second innings, it was just demoralising for them, and they didn't have that cutting edge that they needed. So I think that was sort of the story of that last test in Sydney for me.
Scotty Boland was the story as well.
Scott Boland, the new guy as well.
Bo Webster,
the debutant, was fantastic. I thought he was probably the player of the test match, and just sort of his impact in terms of stabilising the batting order, and giving those bowlers a rest as well. Even though he bowls 110 k's an hour, the overall vibe of the test was India shot themselves in the foot for me.
Well, Australia looked the better team for the majority of the series. Obviously, game one they looked awful, and then from that point on they controlled most of the series. India get away with a draw due to rain in the third test, I think. And then the fifth test was obviously dicey because it all was over in 2 days. So it could have gone either way. Realistically, that pitch was a bit of a joke in terms of how favoured it was towards the bowling sides.
And that's what I mean when Bumrah's out. It's like when you lose the best bowler in the series by a country mile. It's just...
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, Jasprit Bumrah was absolutely electric to watch. Probably the best individual bowling performance on Australian shores. It would definitely be up there. He is a fucking freak of nature. So,
well, it's just disappointing for an Indians because he has an unbelievable series, and yet you never really look like winning. in terms of the series.
And you can look to this you can look to their selections. Rohit Sharma is obviously nowhere near test level quality batsman anymore.
But who played well for them?
Jaiswal
had moments, but he had really bad moments in the series as well.
Like KL Rahul was solid towards the end. He was pretty shit, but the start of the series he was solid. Shubman Gill was disappointing. Kohli had one innings and then he got out the exact same way 10 times, I think. So he's pretty cooked, but you keep him for reputation, I guess. So they're
Rishabh
batting.
Pant had moments.
Yeah,
Jadeja was probably the only one, and he didn't play every test. But Jadeja was probably the other one that was sort of a consistency in that team. But I mean, the other bowlers. I mean, you're looking at Siraj was poor outside of Sydney.
The bowling was an issue. They obviously have Mohammad Shami that didn't play, but he's old. He's like 36. So it's surprising. You'd think they'd have 400 test ready bowlers lined up ready to go, but
there's only like 1 billion people play the sport every year.
Obviously not.
Clearly not.
I mean, because they tried, I think, 3 or 4 different third option.
Well, that was the problem. That their replacements were better than their starters. Like it was, what was it? Reddy was the guy.
But he wasn't good with the ball. He was good with the bat.
Yeah, and then Washington Sundar was same situation. I thought he was good with the bat, but wasn't the best with the ball. But didn't really get much opportunity with the ball. So it was just a weird series. I think Australia really found a new vibrancy to them, a new energy, and India just felt like an old team. And which, if you look at the teams, Australia should have been the one that felt old, and India should have felt like the team that was new and energizing, with all that young talent, especially at the top of the order for them. But it clearly did not pan out.
Yes, and up next year, obviously, everyone's looking towards the Ashes now. I'll say, just from a fan's perspective, I think the Australian summer of cricket has to be a 5-game test series against one of the big nations. Like, it just feels like a waste of a whole year if we get 2 games against the West Indies and 3 games against Pakistan or something like that. And I'm sorry to those nations that it may kill them off, but like, it has to be a 5-game series against a big nation like that. The spectacle is unmatched.
I think Australia should play more outside of Australia.
Well, yeah.
Like, they should be touring those.
But I'm saying, for coming to Australia during the summer where we have an allotment of 5 tests that we play each year, I don't want to see West Indies. I don't want to see Pakistan. I don't want to see Sri Lanka. Unless they can make themselves good enough to...
Well, I think Australia should play more cricket as well in the summer. I think... Why is it only 5 tests?
Well, there's so much they have to fit in. Because in 2 weeks, they're gone to Sri Lanka.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Why are you going to? Why not stay in Australia for 3 months, 3-4 months, and then you play an India or you play a South Africa for 5 tests, and then you play someone else for a couple of tests. You don't have to. You can have both. I think you don't have to have a situation where you're just sort of playing one team every summer. I think there should be sort of a more... I don't know, people saying cricket's probably a bit more stretched at this point. You shouldn't be playing as many tests, and they are playing a lot of cricket. But I think if you're going to shift the priority to T20 and the BBL and IPL and stuff like that, then fine. But that's sacrificing sort of home tests that the nation gets to sort of to put on great test series for fans that love test cricket. So it's just
and the BBL is not.
Yeah,
you can't even say it's a priority. I mean, it's a fucking joke. The only league that I've seen where it's like a B-Tech league, like the best players aren't available to play in it. It's ridiculous. How can you run a competition like that?
It's crazy.
Like it's like the NBA, but LeBron's not going to play this year. KD's not going to play this year.
Australia should buy a team in the IPL and just do that, and that's your IPL team. And
I mean, I don't think they would be able to afford that, to be honest. But no. I think they should just work it out to have a successful league domestically.
But it's impossible. IPL can offer so much more money. It's not even funny. It's chalk and cheese. You've got 1 billion people in that country that love cricket. You've got 10 max. I mean, how many people in Australia would watch a domestic cricket? 1 million?
Yeah.
Maybe 2?
Maybe, yeah.
If it's well done. And look, the BBL was well done. Like, in terms of its setup and how it was done originally, I mean, infrastructure-wise, teams-wise, support-wise, they did the right thing. But it's just kind of a novelty at this point because we all know that the only T20 competition that they actually care about is the IPL. And if they don't care about the IPL, they care about their nation. They don't care about the fucking Hurricanes,
Yeah. Like there is, I mean, I feel like the crowds have been okay at the Big Bash this year. A few years ago, I remember watching on TV, I was like, holy shit, there's 5 people at this game. I feel like they've picked it up a bit, but it's just hard. I mean, when you look at David Warner, for example, he's captaining the Thunder at the moment. Obviously, he's playing in every game. Like, at 38 years of age, he's clearly far and away the best player on that team, which is just shows the gulf in talent, really. And it's just a shame. Like, Steve Smith is playing, I think, the next 3 games for the Sixers, but then he leaves before the finals. Like,
yeah, there's no consistency. There's no sort of league. It's not a league. It's they grab as many players as they can, and then they just
and
chuck
same
them
with
into
the internationals. Like Ben Duckett's been playing for the Stars. He'll play 5, and James Vince, same thing for the Sixers. Like they play 5 games and then they're gone.
Yeah,
like if they're signing, they should be signed for the whole season.
Well, to be fair to the Sixers and the Scorchers in particular, those 2 teams are the ones that do it right. I think, especially the Sixers. You look at that team; it stayed together for a while. I mean, Moses Enriquez has been a captain for that team for fucking years and years and years. And the large majority of that team does stick around. They do have... He's a wicketkeeper that's played for Australia. Philippi. He's been sticking around for Dwarshus, Abbott.
Yeah.
And James Vince, to be fair, has been around that team for a while and has played a lot of games for them. So I think there are teams that do it well and sort of have a culture and have a sort of system and sort of build on grade cricket and sort of New South Wales cricket and sort of use the Sixers as sort of an extension of grade cricket and representing the state, like Perth do. But, I mean, other teams, it's just, like you said, it's a joke. It's so flimsy and so back and forth that there's no consistency. The fans can't support a team. It's not great. But, it's just how it is at the moment. How it is.
Yeah. So, if you want any help, Australia, Cricket New South Wales, whoever's involved in running this Big Bash.
Massive consultants we
are. Yep. I don't charge too high a price.
No. Just higher than anyone's been paid ever. That's our price. Ever, I think. I think that would make me do it. I think personally.
Me too. And also don't put any parameters around what results you're looking for.
Yeah. We'll try our best. We can't guarantee anything. And if anything goes wrong, it's not our fault.
Exactly. So we're covered on all bases. And now,
anyway, moving on.
Is there anything worth talking about in football?
Not really. It's embarrassing for United. We drew 2-2 to Liverpool, if you care. Carabao Cup is going on. FA Cup's going on. It is a January transfer window, technically, but no one's doing anything. I mean, Tottenham won their Carabao Cup first leg match. There's really nothing to talk about with the Carabao Cup until the second leg gets done, because you could say, Tottenham won against Liverpool first leg, but then they've got to play at Liverpool with only a 1-goal lead. If Liverpool score within 10 minutes, it's game, set, match. So it's just, you can't guarantee anything.
And it's the Carabao Cup.
And it's a Carabao Cup. Arsenal, I think Man United playing Arsenal in the FA Cup third round, which was a tough draw for us. But anyway.
Right. That's how far they've fallen. I think Man United are 6 points off relegation.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Yeah. I don't know what we do, but God knows we need some help. Anyway.
Yeah. I think they're beyond help. UFC, we can do a quick little UFC preview for next week. Big card, first pay-per-view of the year.
Wow.
Do you know who's fighting?
No clue.
It's Islam versus Sarukian. Okay. Lightweight title.
Yeah.
Pretty big fight.
Does anyone care about that?
Yeah,
Or-
a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like all of the Middle East, pretty much.
Yeah, that's
Russia.
what I'm saying. It feels very...
It's a big
Sexted.
fight. It's a big fight. It's a rematch. They fought maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Islam won by decision. Sarukian is undefeated since then and has worked his way back up to a title. And Sarukian's really young. Probably gave Islam his toughest fight, apart from the guy that knocked him out. But that was kind of a fluke. So it's a big fight. Very intriguing. I probably still lean with Islam. I think he's improved quite a lot, especially recently with his hands. Obviously, he's finished Volkanovski. He finished Poirier, right? Yeah, he finished Poirier. Even though that was a pretty tough fight, like Dustin did pretty well in that fight. I think it was a 5th round finish, if I'm not mistaken. But Islam, I think you've got to go with him until he loses. To be honest, Sarukian's very good, but I don't know if his striking is damaging enough. He's probably more of a wrestler as well.
Yeah.
And that's obviously Islam's world, so it's going to be tough. The co-main event is Merab back against Umar Nurmagomedov, Khabib's sister.
Wow.
No, it's his cousin, I think. So that's going to be a nice wrestling matchup in the co-main event. Obviously, Merab.
Is this being held in Dagestan or what? Is
No, it's meant to be in LA, but they might have to move it.
Yep. I think the backup place is Dagestan. I think Moscow. It's going to be a Russia situation.
Yeah, probably.
East.
I think the backup's
Abu
actually
Dhabi.
Las Vegas.
Oh,
but yeah, it's still in LA at the moment. I don't think they're wanting to move it. But yeah, Merab and Umar. I'm going to go with Umar because I hate Merab.
Cool.
He ruined Jose Aldo's career.
Wow.
It's actually a pretty solid card. Yuri Prochazka.
Bilal Muhammad is next.
Yuri Prochazka, you know him?
Yes, I do know.
The antenna hair.
Yeah.
He's pretty sick. He's fighting Jamal Hill.
Yep.
Yep.
Know both of them.
So big light heavyweight fight. Hopefully Yuri wins. Jamal Hill's a bit of a dick. Not really a fan of his.
Well, was he the Alex Pereira?
Yeah.
When he
It
said
was
to
the
the
Alex
ref,
Pereira, yeah.
come.
Yeah.
Karma.
And he's basically been saying he's better than Alex Pereira ever since then.
Which is a bit bizarre because he got knocks spark out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happens.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good fight, though. Lightweight fight, Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. That's another good fight. Probably don't care about it, but...
God. If they don't move this shit to Abu Dhabi, I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Well, they're not Dagestani.
How many Dagestan... Yeah, but it's all Middle Eastern people. And that's not... I'm not being racist here. But can we get some freaking different talent?
Well, no, they normally do the Middle Eastern cards later in the year. But you mean like all the fighters are Middle Eastern?
Yeah, all the fighters are from that region. Why are you hosting it in fucking Vegas or LA?
I don't know. It's probably just the way of the world. The next card is... The next pay-per-view is the Sydney card, I think. The one after that.
Which is
Dricus versus Strickland 2 and Weili Zhang versus Tatiana Suarez.
Great fight.
So...
Well, Strickland, yeah. He held out for the title shot. Has ended up getting it.
Mm.
Do you reckon he pulls it off or...
Hopefully not. I hope Dricus wins. Like, I don't think he's deserving of the shot, to be honest. Hamzat should have got it for sure. But it was... it's... the UFC hates Australia. Like, not saying that's a bad fight, but there's no Australians on the card. They've come to Australia 3 times.
Well, that's
no
what I'm saying
Whittaker,
about the Middle Eastern thing.
no Volkanovski, no fucking Jack Della Maddalena. Apparently, Jack Della Maddalena is main eventing the London card a few weeks later against Leon Edwards. So that's a sick fight, but why couldn't it be in Sydney? You know?
Who knows? Maybe the matchmakers aren't as good as they used to be.
Well, they just don't give a fuck about Sydney or Australia.
No. Well, Joe Rogan doesn't come out here, so...
No.
It's bullshit.
That no one likes us. Well, I think they just don't like the flight.
No, yeah, it's
And
horrendous.
the taxes, which is fair.
No, I think the
Taxes
taxes...
are pretty bad here.
I thought the taxes were worse in LA.
I don't think so. No, they're pretty good in LA, aren't they?
No, the taxes are horrendous in LA. They're absolutely...
Well, there's definitely spots in America that are good for it.
Well,
Like
Vegas...
some spots have no...
has
Like,
no
doesn't
tax.
Dallas have no tax?
No state tax.
Yeah.
So everyone has federal tax, like here. But
Yeah.
in America, some places have more than federal tax, so they have state tax. So LA has state tax,
Mm.
but Vegas doesn't, and Texas doesn't, I think. So that's why.
Right.
But a little bit of knowledge for you.
Well, there you go.
What would you do without me?
The things you learn.
The things that you learn.
The things you learn. And then what else? Quickly before we finish, Oz Open kicks off tomorrow. Do you have a prediction for
Nick
tournament winner?
Kyrgios will win.
He'll win.
Is he actually playing this tournament?
he's scheduled to play. Whether he rocks up,
Okay.
I think he's scheduled for tomorrow.
Okay, then I'll watch them. Because he hasn't played tennis for about 3 years, so we'll see.
We'll see. I'm gonna go with Alex de Minaur,
The Australian guy.
the Australian.
God, he's just always got to pick it. Like,
He's the 8th seed, so he's actually pretty high up.
I think it'll be Alcaraz.
Alcatraz.
I always say Alcatraz.
Thomas Alcatraz.
Yeah.
That's not his name.
Alcaraz.
Alcaraz.
Is it Alcaraz or Alcaraz?
Alcaraz.
I think Alcaraz.
Yannick Sinner. He's number 1 right now. He's a drug cheat though, so it's tough.
Harsh.
Also, Djokovic. I don't know if you saw this, but Andy Murray is coaching Djokovic.
Why?
I don't know.
Why? What rank is Djokovic?
7.
Okay. So he's still kicking about. He's still got something in the tank.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, interesting. Well, that'd be a cool duo to win.
It'll be, some comedic moments, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, Oz Open, don't really watch until the semis, but we'll see if Kyrgios can finally win a major.
Yeah, highly doubtful. It's his first competitive match in 3 years, but
why is it
not
taking
actually
him so
3
long?
years? But apparently he had life-threatening wrist surgery or career-threatening wrist surgery.
Life-threatening. Yeah.
Apparently, no one's ever returned from this sort of wrist reconstruction. So,
Right.
Who fucking knows?
Who
Pulled
knows?
out. He was meant to do an exhibition against Djokovic this week. He pulled out with a grade 1 abdominal strain or something.
Okay.
The guy is.
Imagine if he just won the Wimbledon, that Wimbledon. Imagine if he just did it.
Well, he would be retired. 1,000%. He would not come back.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He's not going to do anything now, so what's the point?
I don't know. He
would have gone out on top.
Either he has the worst pain tolerance and zero ability to overcome sort of tribulations, or he actually has really bad injuries. I don't know.
I think it's a bit of both. I think he probably does have bad injuries, but he just doesn't he's not committed to the rehab probably. He's probably all right, I'll just let it heal.
Or just play through the pain, you know what I mean?
But I don't think he'd do that. I think he's probably in a lot of pain, and probably had real injuries, but he just was kind of lax on the rehab. Part of it is probably just, I'll just go out drinking. Who cares?
Anyway, it's tennis is more entertaining when he's playing. He's probably the biggest star in the sport, although he is not that good really, but he's very good.
Got to the fucking final of Wimbledon.
Yeah.
He won the first set against Djokovic.
Yes, he was very good before he got injured. We'll see how good he is now. So,
that was when I was really into tennis. That was all.
I know everyone was getting up, the whole country was getting up at 4 a.m. every day to watch his matches.
And then he got to the final and just blew it.
Well, he was meant to play Nadal in the semis and Nadal pulled out.
Yeah.
So he got a bye into the final.
Yeah.
So he probably wouldn't have won the semis, but
Nadal was looking broken at that point.
But it's Nadal. He always looks broken, but he always wins.
Anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Do you have any passing words for our humble listeners?
A wise man once said, "When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade."
Wow. I feel touched.
Take from that what you will.
Thanks for that. I appreciate that. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe, and see you next episode.
Peace Au revoir. Out.